Pacific Golden Chanterelles all around here. Love this kind of duff. And they're a beautiful color. They pop out in the middle of the woods. And when you see one, make sure you look around because you'll see usually quite a few more. You can notice here, first of all, chanterelles love to collect a little bit of junk there. But have a look at the decurrent folds here, so you'll notice that they're not true gills like you might find in your mushroom at the grocery store. They kind of are folds that emerge out of the stem and then come up into little forked ridges there. You'll know you've got a chanterelle because they also pull. I know a lot of people call them like string cheese, so you can see on these older one here that's a little bit wet, already it's starting to pull. It'll pull apart like string cheese or pulled pork, but that's a gorgeous color there. And they'll pop out in the woods all over the place for you when you find some. All right, age-old question, cut or pick? Well, you're gonna hear lots and lots of stories about either way. Turns out science tells us it doesn't matter. So I recommend pulling, cutting the stem so that you don't get a lot of dirt in your basket. Have a look, I'll link to the study down below. Pacific Golden Chanterelle mushrooms. My personal favorite, and the mushroom that got me excited about finding stuff in the woods and cooking it up. I use these wherever I might use your grocery store cremini or button mushroom. I love them so much. They go great in soups, stews, roasts, saute them up, put them on some steaks, fry them up and throw them into an omelet. They are absolutely fantastic for any mushroom purpose. Now, I got a fairly good haul here in the woods, but let's be honest, about half of these maybe I can preserve, and you can preserve them lots of different ways. They dry okay. It changes the texture a little bit, so you wanna think about maybe putting that into a soup or a stew or something like that afterwards for that mushroom flavor. You can powder them. One of the best ways is to just dry fry them a little bit. Throw in a lump of butter or some olive oil and let them cool, and then vacuum seal. Throw them in the freezer, they'll keep great. I've also started to, with the nice little ones here that I really want to preserve for some things, tossing them with a little olive oil, putting them on a sheet pan in a single layer, roasting them in the oven for about 25 minutes, half an hour at about 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and then once they've cooled, throw them into the freezer on some parchment paper, and you've kind of got an individual quick frozen one that you can then put into a Ziploc bag and just pull out a handful of frozen mushrooms whenever you want. They come back beautifully, especially when they're nice, kind of good sized buttons, a little bit like that one. However, for today's dish, fresh, what my family loves best is chanterelles with potatoes. Okay, chanterelle potatoes. Get yourself, it depends how generous and mushroomy you're feeling. I got about 3-4 cups of chanterelles here, probably chopped down to about 3 cups in the end. About 2 cups of boiled, cubed, and cooled potatoes. This is gonna help speed them up a little bit here. And I'm gonna use some duck fat. But if you want butter or olive oil or margarine or something will do, this is just my personal favorite. Bit of salt, and we are going to just rough chop up these. If you got the nice little buttons, maybe just keep them whole, but I've got a lot of very large chanterelles here, and I just want them into little rough bits. You can also, a lot of people love to tear them. It gives you a nice little texture, and maybe chop up the stalks a little bit though. Just like so. Now, get your oven on 400 degrees and a pan on medium hot while you're getting those all finished up for the dry fry. Now, these mushrooms are fresh out of the woods, so they're full of water, but even if you've just got them at the grocery store, there's still a ton of water here. And we want these potatoes to be nice and crispy, so I want to get a bunch of this water out first before we add the potatoes in. All right, pan's nice and hot. Get those chanterelles onto a dry frying pan. To dry fry. This is an important step in getting some of the water out of there. You're going to do this whenever you want to preserve them. Dry fry them first. If you're going to throw a little bit of butter in there, you just need to get some of the moisture out. Otherwise, if you're freezing the mushrooms, it's going to burst apart the cell walls and kind of change the flavor and structure. But it's also a great idea just to get a little bit of water out of your mushrooms before you start adding other things into your dish. Now, at one point, you're going to get a little thin layer of water in the bottom of the frying pan. Just a little bit like this here. Now, if you've got a lot of chanterelles that you're processing, do not let that go to waste. Get yourself a bowl or a cup or something like that and just pour off that liquid. You're going to be surprised how much it is. And return your chanterelles to the pan to keep cooking and to reduce down and get a little bit more water in here. This is liquid gold. Add a little bit of salt into here. Once you've done a big batch, you'll have maybe a couple cups of this. Let it cool and then pour it into ice cube trays and pop them in the freezer. You will have tiny little pellets of absolute deliciousness. This is a great little mushroom stock that you can just throw into a stir fry or add a handful into a soup or a stew, into a gravy or a sauce to thicken it up. It is absolutely delicious. I always keep a bunch on hand to just add a little boost of flavor into many, many dishes. All right, now the mushrooms have now given up most of their liquid. The bottom of the pan is dry, so we are going to just either push those to the side or take them out completely, depending on how many you're doing, and get yourself about 2 tablespoons of whatever fat you've chosen to go into there. Pop a little there, and just put that back onto the fire. Now, once your fat's melted and coated the bottom of the pan, just take your potatoes and kind of nestle them into there, in amongst the chanterelles. Give them a little toss to make sure they're all covered in fat. And pop them into your 400-degree oven. After about 10 minutes, pull your chanterelles and potatoes out of the oven. And you're just going to give them a little toss to make sure that all the sides get some nice, oh God, that smells amazing, some nice golden color and brown on them. At this point in time, you can also add a little bit of herbs or something. I'm going to throw in a little bit of fresh thyme stems in here. Don't put them right at the beginning or else they're going to burn a bit in the hot. Also, I think now it's time for a little bit of salt and some fresh ground pepper. Give that one more toss. And back in the oven for another 10 or 15 minutes. All right, after 25 minutes, half an hour total cook time, pull your chanterelles and potatoes out of the oven. Oh, And they should be golden brown and amazing. Give them a little toss. Oh, they smell so good. And these make an incredible side to some roast veg or a steak or a nice piece of fish. Let them cool a little bit if you can wait. A little extra salt, a little fresh pepper. I forgot a fork. Oh, they smell amazing. The potatoes are nice and golden brown and crispy. The mushrooms are chewy with some caramelized edges. I can still smell it out of the pan coming up. This is absolutely delicious. Oh, make sure you get a bite with all the mushrooms on there. Oh. Mmm. Too hot. Too hot. Gotta wait. Oh, no, still too hot. Oh, I don't know if my family's gonna get any of this.